Thank you so much for the $1.25. Once again, Mr. Chris from HR. You're asking what my thoughts on the new budget SLATE auto truck is, and it's backed by Jeff Bezos. So for context, SLATE is a electric truck and SUV manufacturer that has been in part backed by Jeff Bezos and a couple other big names out there. They recently released their truck, not to the public yet, but they recently announced it. And it's got a starting price of, I think, around about $28,000, but with incentives, it's going to be on $20,000 or under $20,000, which is a pretty big deal for an EV, I will acknowledge. And what are my thoughts on SLATE? What do I think about SLATE, their product, and their brand overall? I like the concept of the truck. I really, really, really like the concept of the SLATE truck. I don't think, realistically speaking, it's going to cost $20,000 though. I think the price is too high for what they're offering. I was asked what I thought of the SLATE truck when the company first announced it about a week or two ago now, and I didn't really know a lot about the truck then, but after that live stream, I did a little bit more research on it, and I watched a couple videos and stuff like that, and I can say without a doubt, I really, really, really like the concept of the SLATE truck. I think it's a very cool concept. The idea of like an ultra customizable, like ultra sort of like, I'd have to say, like a featureless truck, I think is really cool. And I think it's something that personally, if I had the money to spend and I wanted a new car, I would love to have. But here's the thing, not for $20,000. I wouldn't want it for $20,000. I don't want a pickup truck with wind down windows for $20,000, and I sure as hell don't want an electric pickup truck for $20,000 either. What I would want if I was to spend my $20,000 on a small pickup truck that's insanely customizable is, well, electric windows, AC, a radio, and a 4-cylinder engine. Maybe 4-cylinder turbo, but I'd be happy with just the 4-cylinder, frankly put. I'd want a Nissan hardbody from 1989, frankly put. That's what I'd want for my money, but that's not what a SLATE truck is because it's an EV. I think the concept of the SLATE EV is really interesting, but I don't know. I like the styling of it. I know first last you're saying that thing's ugly AF. I actually like the styling of it. I actually don't mind it one bit, and I think it looks really good with the SUV topper on it as well, and that's something else to mention. I think the SUV topper, really cool idea kind of thing, but I don't know. I can't see myself buying it. I can't, and I personally think it's too expensive for what it is. I think it should be more in the $15,000 range, like competing more with the Nissan Versa than with anything else for what they're offering. And I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be that big of a hit. I think they're going to sell. But I don't think the people they're going to sell to are the people that really need a vehicle like that. I mean, like, when we're looking at who buys the cheapest cars in the United States, let's think Mitsubishi Mirage, Nissan Versa, stuff like that. We're looking at people that can afford a new car and can afford a used car, but they don't want to deal with the problems that a used car may incur. They don't want to deal with, oh, the previous owner didn't maintain it correctly, so now I've got to deal with all these issues and everything like that. They just want a new car that just works and gets them from point A to point B with no issues at all. And it's going to work no matter what, as long as they maintain it for the next 5 to 10 years. That's what that buyer segment wants, if you ask me. If I was in that buyer segment, that's what I would want. But the SLATE EV doesn't really fit that. Like, yes, it's almost at that price point, like Mitsubishi Mirage, Nissan Versa level, but those cars have electric windows, a gas engine, you can fit 4 people in them without having to pay more, and they're from brands that have a parts department all across the United States, and mechanics are actually willing to work on them. Now, of course, the whole idea of an EV is that you're not really supposed to have to work on it as much as an internal combustion engine. It doesn't need oil changes, it doesn't need transmission fluid changes and stuff like that kind of thing. That's the whole idea with it, right? But if you need a part for a Slate, unless you can order it on Amazon and do it yourself, who's going to work on it? The general demographic that I personally think is going to be buying the SLATE Truck is not the people that just want a working vehicle for as cheap as possible. It's hipsters. I really think the SLATE Truck is hipster bait. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but it's not really... It's the price they're going for. Basically what I'm trying to say is that the SLATE Truck is a hipster toy. It's a hipster toy, and that's my personal opinion. I really do think the SLATE Truck is a hipster toy. It's going to be something that people who want a little EV to drive around town in are going to pick up, and it's going to be a fun truck for that, but it's not going to be a vehicle that people are using 24/7 for doing their work or for doing, like, picking up the kids or something like that kind of thing. It's going to be a hipster toy. It's going to be something like that. It's not a Geo Metro. It's not a Ford Festiva. It's a hipster toy. That's my personal opinion on the SLATE Truck. I don't think it's going to be a bad vehicle. In fact, I actually, as said, really like the concept of the SLATE Truck. But I just don't think it's going to be what people are saying it's going to be. It's not going to be that bare bones car that people who just want a vehicle are going to get. Because anybody who just wants a vehicle in this day and age is going to get a gas car. And that's without even mentioning that at the price point its bottom level is at, which is $20,000, if you're financing a $20,000 car, you might own a house, you might not. But it's not like, let's say, a Lucid Air, where the owners of people, the owners of Lucid Airs, the people who own Lucid Airs, that's a $100,000 vehicle. If they're financing that car, they have the money to buy a house. More than likely, unless they're living in LA or San Fran. Around in my local area, if somebody has a Lucid Air, I can make the assumption that they own a house. And at a house, you can put in an EV charger. I have not seen a single apartment complex with EV chargers. If they really wanted to market the SLATE Truck to that super cheap market, it would have a 4-cylinder engine. But that's not how they're trying to market it. I think they're trying to market to hipsters that either already have a house or have the time in the day to go sit at a Tesla charger and pay for the Tesla charger rather than charging it at somebody else's house or their house or wherever kind of thing. It's one of those things where for the people that are in the price point of the base model SLATE Truck, they're not going to buy it because they can't charge it at their house and stuff like that. And for me, personally, like I'm not a naysayer of electric cars. I really don't mind them. Do I prefer my internal combustion cars? Absolutely I do. I absolutely do prefer my internal combustion cars. I prefer my diesel cars even over my gas cars, but I love both gas and diesel cars almost the same. I'd have to say probably 55-45. 55 diesel, 45 gasoline. I really like my internal combustion cars more so than electric cars, but I'm not an electric or hybrid naysayer. In fact, I think hybrid cars are really the way to go, and I really do think that if the SLATE Truck was a hybrid, I actually think it would be viable for the market segment that people are saying it's going to be going for. But a pure electric car? No. Like, if the SLATE Truck could be a Prius hybrid killer, then I think that would be amazing. Like, if the SLATE Truck was a hybrid, that would be crazy. That would be insanely good. And it would also make a lot more sense for them to do that, because, I mean, like, their main competitor, which is going to be the Ford Maverick, which is now, like, base price $27,000, which is insane, for what it is. But it's one of those things where the base model Maverick comes with a 4-cylinder hybrid system. And that's their main competitor. I totally get it's full electric. They don't have to do cafe stuff with the US government and emissions and stuff like that. But I really do think the SLATE Truck is a car that is not going to work for the people that need a car in that price range the most. And it is a toy for people who already have the money to spend on something more and have a house, and it's hipster bait. It's a hipster toy. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think it's going to be an amazing vehicle for people that already have a vehicle or two and just want another one as a toy to drive around town. But that's exactly what the SLATE Truck is. It's not going to work for 90% of people who are in the price range for it, frankly put. And that's my personal opinion. Your American-based prices are cheap compared to Canada. Well, you also got to remember the conversion rate between the USD and the Canadian dollar, of course. I'm talking in USD. But yeah, I don't know. I like the concept of the truck, as said. I just don't think it works. One of the things that really bothered me about their marketing, and overall, I really don't mind their marketing. I actually quite like their marketing. I think it's really good. Their marketing overall so far has been very solid. My one big complaint with their marketing is that when you watch the release trailer on their YouTube, it's very obvious that certain segments of the trailer are AI generated. And hey, you know, using AI for certain things totally makes sense. But for presenting a vehicle and announcing it and having that vehicle's trailer feature AI-generated images of your own truck is just not a good thing in my opinion. As somebody who is looking at SLATE as a consumer, not as a potential buyer, because I'm not a potential buyer of SLATE, frankly put. I will not be buying one. I have no intention of doing so. But as somebody who is in the buyer side of the side, I'm not on the seller side of SLATE trucks. Looking at that and watching the trailer and seeing that they've got AI generated videos and images of the SLATE trucks is just like, no, I just don't like that. Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of that, I'll acknowledge. Overall, though, do I mind SLATE as a brand? No. Do I mind the concept of SLATE? No, I don't mind it. I just don't think it's going to work for what a lot of people are saying it's going to work for. I really do think it's a hipster truck, frankly, but it's a hipster toy. Not a bad thing, but it's a hipster toy nonetheless, and that's what it is. It's not an economy car. But yeah, that's what I think about the SLATE Truck. I just realized I've been talking about this for the last, 15-20 minutes. I should probably go ahead and get a drink going now, shouldn't I? The AI stuff just screams lazy. I can agree with that. I would have so much rather seen, the actual truck itself just driving on the road. Or maybe not even on a public road, just take it around a test track. I just want to see it driving. But they didn't even do that. It was all AI generated, which is what it is. Doesn't give me a terribly large amount of faith in the fact that the truck is working yet, I hate to say. Only gets 150 miles of range. I know a lot of people are saying that that's a really big deal. I actually don't think only 150 miles of range is a big deal for it being a hipster truck, for it being a hipster toy. Because, let's be honest here, with the SLATE Truck, it's small enough where nobody's going to really be taking it on road trips. It's got a low enough range where nobody's really going to be taking it on road trips. The way I think about the SLATE Truck is that it's going to appeal to people who want something like a K-Truck in the United States, but don't want a K-Truck and want to pay more. Because let's be reasonable here. Are you really going to be road tripping a K-Truck across Texas in 90 mile an hour at 90 mile an hour highway speeds? Probably not, because your K-Truck can't even hit 90 miles an hour. Not that my Mercedes can either. Well, it can, but I wouldn't want to push it at 90 for an extended amount of time. The SLATE Truck is a city toy. It's a city car. It's not going to be something that people are road tripping, and most people's commutes are under 150 miles. Most people's commutes in my local area are 30 miles, even during the winter when you're probably losing another 20 miles with the heater and it just being cold and stuff like that. You've still got an extra 50 miles to get back home. So I really don't think the 150 miles is that big of a deal, but it would be nicer to have a higher range for a lower price, I will acknowledge. $20K for an around town car is a scam though. K-Trucks are like $8K and way cooler, but marketing. It's a hipster toy. Teslas are, in my personal opinion, not nearly high enough quality to demand the price that they demand. I don't think they are. I mean, like, I really have nothing wrong with the Tesla vehicles themselves, the brand, the company. That's a topic for a different day. But the cars themselves, I really don't have too much against. I think Tesla, the cars themselves really did push the United States into being more focused on EVs because the big three realized they had to compete. However, Teslas are not good quality vehicles. That's just a fact of the matter. I mean, like, orange peel from the factory, that's just sad, frankly put. No other manufacturer is doing that. That's insanely bad. And they were still able to pull it off. And demand a higher price. For me, if I wanted an around town car like a K-Truck, I'd be buying a K-Truck and spending only $8,000, or hell, maybe even less than that, because you can get them for less. But the people they're marketing at want to spend $20,000. They want to get a new car. That's my opinion. So yeah. But yeah, I do think that for a hipster around town car, I think a K-Truck is absolutely better. Without a doubt. Because you can take it on the highway if you want to. And you can actually road trip it if you really want to. Especially with the new generation of K-cars, or in K-Trucks, being able to come onto the market in the United States now, which are going to be less cab over and more front drive, where the wheels are right at the edge of the body and stuff, so you can't tip them over the front and whatnot. Which is what I would want if I was going to buy a K-Truck, I'll acknowledge, because I'm afraid I would flip a K-Truck. But, yeah. Let's say SLATE Truck is a cool concept, but that's what it is to me. It's not something I'd buy, and it's not something I can see anybody but people who want a hipster, a new trendy hipster around town car buying. As said, if it had a 4-cylinder gas engine, I think it would be amazing. I would be calling it the new Nissan Frontier, or the new Nissan Hardbody, but it doesn't have that, which is a shame. It is a shame. Let's take a sip of my drink, though. Hell yeah, brother. Good stuff. No complaints on my behalf, you know what I'm saying? None at all. K-Truck, how about a K-Car? Ooh, what kind of K-Car is we talking about? We talking Chrysler K-Car platform? We talking the Chrysler K platform? Chrysler LeBaron? I'm just going to say, one of the worst cars ever made, but also one of the most base cars ever made. Such horrible vehicles. The Chrysler K platform. Did they ever make a reliable vehicle? I only see Chrysler K cars in my local area these days, like once in a blue moon. I think I saw one like a couple days ago, and it was the same one I saw months before that. I never see them around about. They around and about. They are not great vehicles. They are the economy car of the economy car, and not reliable economy cars at that. But K-Trucks and KEI cars from Japan are super cool, without a doubt. 1983 Chrysler LeBaron is a cigarette car final boss. If it's the convertible, I would agree with that, though. Sun XP pickup when? Ooh. I gotta figure out if I want to put the money into sourcing one and getting it. I do want one. But I'm not gonna say exactly when, because I'm not sure myself. But Sun XP pickup truck, I do want one. I'm not gonna lie, I do want one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Saw Fisker the other day. I saw one the other day as well. I'm not gonna lie. I was literally recording when I saw it, and I said, "Oh wow, it's a Fisker Ocean." Wow, man, I kind of feel bad for the owner because, like, there's no more parts availability because the company went under. I was like, oh lord. Fisker Karmas. I think Fisker Karmas are really cool. I actually wouldn't mind owning a Fisker Karma if I had the money to make it, like, all nice and to repair the battery and electric motors and stuff like that. I actually think the Fisker Karma is a pretty fucking good looking car. I saw one like a year or two after they initially released, like back years ago, and I saw it and I was like, what the fuck is this? I actually genuinely really don't mind the Fisker Karma, but the new Fisker is the Fisker Ocean. I wouldn't buy one personally.